Tired of feeling tired? Done with diet culture? Overwhelmed by conflicting nutrition and fitness messages? Then join us, your hosts of the Nutrition Revolution podcast, as we take a deep dive into all things women's fitness and nutrition. I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Tabitha. And together we are debunking diet culture myths and giving you the tools you need to finally see the results you're looking for. It's time to revolutionize your nutrition and training. All right, y'all, welcome back. Another week, another episode. One of our listeners, they sent a question a while ago. Sorry that we're just now getting to it, but asking basically for strategies, tips, and help with budget-friendly, healthy eating with a family. So also with picky eaters in the house, how to navigate healthier eating on a budget, not breaking the bank, and with your children that maybe don't want to eat all the things.
Oof. Or there's nothing worse than kids not wanting to eat what you planned.
Yeah.
On a budget.
I'm a little bit of a dictator in the sense that it's like you always have two options, eat it or don't.
Right.
But I realize that philosophy and that approach isn't going to work for everyone.
Right. Especially if they have sensory or...
Exactly. Yeah. If there are other issues, right? So I don't have children with sensory issues. They're, healthy in that sense. So for us, that is something that works well. But and even if that might not even be like your parenting style, right? There's all kinds of different parenting styles. So even if your child doesn't have any sensory issues, you may not want to take that approach. Then what do you do? And I'll like to be fair. I'm not, when I'm like, hey, well, this is what's for dinner, eat it or don't. Like
that's how I grew up. I remember sitting at the table not wanting to eat broccoli, and my mom was like, "We will sit here until it's done."
Yeah, I haven't gone to that length, but like. More like, okay, here's just like a piece, and like you just need to try the piece, and other strategies of like getting them more involved in the meal planning. But I digress. I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves on that. But what would you say when it comes to building healthy meals on a budget? Let's start with that one first.
The budget. So I can attest to this one. When we moved to Delaware, we did not have any money, so we were on a major budget. And so I remember buying a lot of things in bulk. I would do like chicken and that kind of stuff from the butcher. I remember we got like a quarter cow or whatever that we could just buy it in bulk and then eat that. We did a lot of frozen veggies and frozen fruit because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And then I had this rule that I would buy our treats and snacks and stuff at the beginning of the month. And then that's basically what you get. And if you run out of that, then you don't have treats and snacks. Like that was it. So it kind of helped us go through and like, okay, I'm only gonna eat this if I really need it or want it, versus like, I'm just bored and walking through the kitchen and I'm gonna grab this snack. So it kind of made you mindful of like when you actually need it versus like it's just there because they're snacks. So we were really careful about that. I am really big on budget. Like if I see our snacks that we love are on sale, I will buy multiple packs of them if it's in our budget at the time. And then that way you're saving over time. So I usually do a big grocery haul like at the beginning of the month. And then throughout the rest of the weeks, I just kind of fill in where we need. And so if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen this, like my stories are always like, here's me meal prepping. And then I show my completely empty fridge of like, I should probably go to the grocery store.
Yeah, it's time.
Right. And I'm a big, like, what do we have? What ingredients can we use? And I teach my kids, like, you might be craving something or like you want to eat this thing, but we're going to finish what we have in our house first before we go grocery shopping for the other things. So they know, like, if I still have flour and any sort of frozen veggie, we're going to like make a meal at home. Like we're not going to go to the grocery store. And I think that was, something that I had started, when we moved here, we didn't have a whole lot of money, in between jobs, having babies, moving. And so it was something that I had started because we needed to save money. And I was like, well, I can easily make these meals out of nothing. And so that's kind of where I started.
Yeah, love it.
And it's not always fun. We don't always get to eat like the best things, but it saves money. So if you really are like, we have to pinch pennies, we don't eat out.
Yeah, not eating out is a huge thing.
And
cooking from home is always cheaper.
It's always cheaper.
Hands down, any way you cut it, any way you look at it, making your own meals.
Delete the DoorDash app because that's ridiculous.
It is insanely expensive. Yeah. Like, my kids come to me regularly, like, can we DoorDash? I'm like, no. Yeah, when you're grown and on your own
and you're
it's
paying for it yourself.
Your credit card attached to it.
Right.
Like, I'm like, first of all, why do you even have DoorDash on there? Like,
I know. And those are hard conversations to have, because I think that, especially as, our kids are kind of in, I think your kids are a little older than mine, but
15 and 13.
They're starting to come into that, like, oh, my friends do this or they do this. And then you have to be the parent that's like, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah. But I have no problem being that parent. Again, that's my personality. I realize that is not the style of everyone out there. But I do think that if you truly are on a budget, that are conversations that you're going to have. That's a hard truth.
Yeah.
If you're on a budget and you're serious about eating healthy, you're going to have to take that deep dive and draw that hard line and make those choices and say, listen, we're not going to be ordering out food weekly. We're not going to be door dashing. We're not, we're going to be, I'm a huge meal planner. So if you look on my Instagram, you're always seeing the meals that I've prepared. So I sit down every week, and this is one of the strategies, like one of the top strategies for healthy eating, as well as healthy eating on a budget, is to plan your meals in advance. So sit down at your week, look at what are I need dinner in under 30 minutes. I need lunches that I can put together in bulk one day, and then I've got them, lunch and breakfast. That's usually how I operate. Breakfast and lunches are pretty much set. Dinner, we have more variety, but I've planned it out. So then when I do my grocery order, whether I'm in store or I'm doing pickup or delivery, like, I have the foods that I need. Right, I go through my pantry, my fridge and freezer. What do I already have that I can utilize? That's
so important, because I don't think people do that, and I think that's important. Take stock and inventory of what you already have and plan around those things. And
that's such an easy strategy to avoid food waste. And to save money. Like, you can just go online. Like, every single recipe food blog out there, like, you can literally go Google and search, like, if you have, frozen peas and corn and whatever protein, and like
ChatGPT will make you a recipe.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, ChatGPT.
You put your ingredients in there, and then it'll make you a recipe based off of that thing.
That's a free app that you can use on your phone. I use the free version. But you can Google and look at different food blogs and search by ingredient what you already have, and then build your meals that way. You're going to reduce your food waste. Use what you have, save money that way. So I look, and I'll meal plan, and then I have found over the years that I've done this, my grocery bill is significantly less than and like, let's be real. Okay, so disclaimer, I have weeks where I'm like, it ain't happening. Like, or like I've been sick, or like or whatever.
Sports are taking over.
Like, just recently, my husband had kind of emergency spinal surgery. That sounds like really dramatic. He had a microdiscectomy. He had herniated, ruptured discs, and it'd been like 10 years. So we finally, though, like, had gotten to the point where he was experiencing like neuropathy and foot drop, and so we had gone to the spinal surgeon, and they were like, you need to have this like as soon as possible to correct the foot drop neuropathy. Anyway, so it was like, we had an appointment on Tuesday, literally Thursday.
Wow.
Last week, we were going up to Bensalem, PA for the surgery. And then on top of that, I had my brother-in-law and his family of 5 come stay with us for a week, like 2 days later, for my mother-in-law's birthday party. So like, that last week, I was
need
like,
a nap.
I'm not cooking. It ain't happening. I'm not meal planning. Like, literally, we were just like, but that's rare. Life, and that's rare. So you have to understand that there's going to be times where you're going to be flying by the seat of your pants.
And because you budget, you have the wiggle room for that. You have the wiggle room, and you don't feel like, I'm doing something bad or wrong. No, like, that's what this prep and preparing is for.
My point is, like, my grocery list or my grocery bill will ends up usually being more expensive on those weeks where I'm just like grabbing things randomly, thinking in my head, what can I throw together, versus when I have a clear set plan, a clear list of the items, and then I make sure that I don't ever shop when I'm hungry, because then I'm more likely to grab things that aren't on the list. And I really stick to the list, and it helps. It absolutely saves money. Okay, so
one of my strategies.
Yes, let's hear it.
Do not take your husband or children grocery shopping with you.
Okay.
It really makes a difference. If your kids are going, they're going to want to pick out all of these different things, right? Like, oh, this looks good. Oh, can I get this? And my husband is like, oh, I haven't been to a grocery store in a while. Look at all these new ideas and options. And I'm like, nope, we stick to our list. And So unless you want to throw down some cash on things that they want to try, don't take them with you.
So that works out great for me now that they're older, and then now that we have the option for grocery pickup and delivery. But like when my kids were little,
you didn't have an option to
they came with me, right? When they were 2 and 4. But again, and this is another hard truth, you're the adult.
Yeah.
You are in control of your food environment, and your children are not the little dictators, right? Like you can say no. And that was a conversation we had all the time. I'd be like, no, we don't need that. No, it's not on the list. You know, I would, when it came to one of the strategies that I would use, to help with that situation when they were little and they had to come with me and we didn't live in the world of grocery delivery and pickup, was allow them each to pick one snack that like they got to pick.
Yeah.
And that was their pick. And so it gave them, I think it fulfilled that like, oh, can I have this? Can I have this? They knew ahead of time, you're going to get to pick one snack and I'll let you pick it when we get there. And if it was Oreos, I let them pick Oreos because they're not going to kill you at the end of the day.
Right.
If, you know, but every now and then, if it was cheese puffs, like something.
Yeah.
And that maybe wasn't every time, but it worked.
It helps to curb that strategy.
Yes, exactly. It gave them a feeling of like, okay, I'm making a decision. I'm getting something. Yeah. But then there were other times where it was just like straight up no. And if you're consistent with it, with those two strategies, like no, it's not on the list, or like you pick a snack ahead of time, like they figure it out really quick.
Yeah.
And then it really reduces that. Now, funny, because my husband is on the other side where he's like, well, if you buy this size, the price per ounce is cheaper. And I'm like, but I don't need 500.
We can't store it.
Of, like, you know, beans or lentil, like whatever the item was, like the bulk size. Like, I don't need that. Yeah. And that's the thing that I like balance with him. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But we have just a family of 4. So if I buy that size, even though it's cheaper per ounce, it's going to end up going
to go
bad.
to waste. Do you shop at Costco? Are you like a Costco, Sam's Club?
No, I mean, I know a lot of people love it. I just feel like Walmart and then some of the like Aldi, Safeway, Target, some of the other grocers fill our needs.
Yeah.
For like Walmart bulk things that I get in bulk. And so I just haven't found that like it's worth for my family of 4 to pay the membership.
And I'm the same way. So we used to use Costco when we were single and lived in DC, and like my husband and I, we would go to like Costco and buy stuff, but we could back then. And now, like with the kids, we don't even bother. And I feel like sometimes with Costco, you buy stuff because it's there, and sometimes your budget can get out of control because you walk out of Costco at $400 and you still have to go to the grocery store and you still have to do these things. So we haven't done any of those Costco or Sam's Club. So just be careful, like when you are shopping, sometimes those seem like that might be a great idea, but it's not always. Plus you're paying for the membership price and
you gotta budget that in
so,
too.
Yeah. So it's not always the best. And you can go on Amazon and get a lot of that stuff cheaper at the same price.
That's true.
Or the same price.
Good old Amazon. I do have bulk. Some things that I buy in bulk off of Amazon. Okay. So planning meals in advance, buying in bulk, using seasonal produce. That's a big thing too. If you go and you look in the dead of winter, berries are so expensive. So that is when I will switch to frozen berries.
And even in the summer, like right at the end of summer, a lot of like farm stands, especially local in Delaware, farm stands and stuff will have like produce that doesn't look perfect, or it's maybe almost out of, prime season. I'll take that and I will freeze it and I will put that in our freezer. So I think just a couple weeks ago, I ran out of our frozen blueberries that I had gotten from farms and stuff in the area. And then our local farmers market has like these bins that's like a bin for $1. And you go take all of that and you can use it. Like I'll chop up peppers and, it doesn't look perfect, but you can cut around certain things. So
yeah, absolutely.
Don't be afraid to utilize that freezer with the frozen fruits and veggies.
Bulk up on that, or stock up on that, on the seasonal produce, freeze them, can them, whatever, freezing is my option. I've tried my hand at canning. It's
so fun. I mean, it takes a while, but it's fun.
Yeah. I love that you have fun. I'm going to let you enjoy that.
Doing it with my grandma, so I knew.
I did pickles, and they turned out really, really good. Yeah. They were pickles like from the cucumbers from my garden years ago. But I was like, cost benefit. I'm like,
it's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of effort, yeah. So we also kind of just hit then too on like frozen, and then I'm not opposed to canned.
No,
if you can get BPA free line BPA free lining, which pretty much all cans are now. You know,
Most
if you're
of
on a
them.
budget, like, you know, buying even the things that are like in glass jars too, to avoid the plastics, you know, if you can find that, like that's another option that's going to be cheaper than the fresh stuff. And you have the added bonus that of the longevity, like shelf
It'll last
stable.
longer. I think that we should clarify some of this stuff too, because so when you look at your health and your, you know, what your goals are, people are going to be like, oh, if you're not buying organic, then it's not healthy for you. If you're not buying it fresh, it's not healthy for you. You have to start somewhere. And so if your goal is like, all right, I have this family of 8 and I need to clean up our diets, I need to get us healthy, start with just buying fruits and veggies, whether they're frozen in cans or whatever. And then as you progress and you need more changes, which most people probably won't, if you need to make those other changes of like organic or whatever, then pay attention to those labels. But you don't have to start with organic. I didn't start with organic, and now like most of my stuff can be, but local is better. And so it really kind of depends on what your goals are, but don't feel like you have to always have organic and farm fresh. Like it doesn't have to be that way. So canned, you know, you're going to read studies that say never have anything with aluminum or in a can, but if you're just trying to clean up your diet and get healthier, you got to start somewhere. And sometimes our budgets don't allow for anything other than, so.
Yeah, I could not agree more. 100% mic drop, full stop. I would say that eating strawberries, whether they're organic or not, is better than not eating strawberries.
Better than a Snickers bar.
100% better than a packaged processed food. So some things I notice, so when things are in season, the organic prices are more reasonable, and I will do that. And then when it's like out of season, like if I do get berries over the winter and stuff, usually I'm not buying the organic because it's just so much cheaper to do it that way. So yeah, same thing, it's the balance. And if you are just starting out, like you said, start with just incorporating more whole foods. Don't stress out about the organic versus, you know, not organic. You can also wash your produce with, if there's any like pesticides residue. I do a little bit of like vinegar in water. There are other natural like essential oil based fruit cleansers that are like healthy, you know, safe, non-toxic that you can use.
But again, if you're on a budget, a bottle of apple cider vinegar or just regular vinegar will help
in some
clean
water and just rinse them off. And studies have shown that it's really effective at removing all of the pesticide.
Always wash your fruits and veggies though.
Residue. So that's one way that you can do that and feel better, and that doesn't cost you anything. So yeah, I agree. I think that's an excellent point to bring up, because I do feel like a lot of clients that I've worked with come in with these mindsets that like if it's not organic and locally sourced, you know,
I think it really holds people back from eating healthy because they're like, oh, it has to be this or nothing. And I'm saying it has to be something or you're not going to start at all.
Right. Exactly. Meet yourself where you are and then pick and choose. And then maybe for you, your budget is never going to look like organic produce. That's okay. Yeah. That is totally okay. It is still better to eat the whole foods and get your fruits and veggies, if they're organic or not, just wash them and you're going to be okay. I promise you'll be better off in the long run. Okay. Couple of last points. Cooking at home, which we touched on that earlier. You have to make your own food.
You have to.
If you're on a budget, especially, and you want it to be healthy, that's 2 birds, 1 stone.
I mean, you can't even eat at Chick-fil-A anymore for under $60
it's
with
insane.
a family of 4.
It's insane.
But then,
and that's not even getting like sodas and milkshakes.
Yeah,
like
that's just like
a
your chicken
meal
sandwich
with a water,
and whatever.
Like
yeah. So that's what I have. You know, I am like my husband always laughs because I get very stressed out about finances, and I'm like, you know, oh, we got to do this. We got to do this. He's like, we're fine. I don't know why you live like we're living paycheck to pay. Like, we're fine. You can spend the money on stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just how I was always, my brain is wired to be very budget conscious.
Be frugal.
Yeah. And, you know, that's just how I am.
Which is a good thing.
It is. And he needs me to balance him out because he's not like that.
Okay.
It works.
That's kind of me and my husband, but in opposite roles.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm Brandon in this situation, and my husband's more like Kimberly.
So I, you know, like I will go to the grocery store and I'm like, I'm getting these things and this is it. And it has to be under this amount of money or I'm going to freak out. Well, in this economy, my grocery bill went from like $150 a month to like $300 a month. And I'm
month
like,
or a week?
Or a week.
Okay. I was like, girlfriend, wait a second.
Week.
That is monthly.
A week.
I need to do what you're doing.
Yeah. So, and it stressed me out. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I got really like good at cultivating and using what I have, making my meal plans, looking and seeing like the prices of stuff. And I have my grocery budget down now to like a T. And it is meal prepping. Like,
meal prepping, meal planning. Having
and $300 a week for groceries. We are like, oh my gosh, but then spending $100 to eat out, people are like, well, it is what it is. You know, like you have to think like, stop spending that money eating out and go to the grocery store. Even if like, I don't know, you're going to stop and go eat out, go to the grocery store and make the meals that you want to eat. What are you craving eating out? Go to the grocery store and get that stuff and make it, you know, make that part of your adventures and plans or date nights or whatever you're planning on eating out for. And I get eating out isn't avoidable all the time, but for the most part, you don't have to eat out every week. You can package your meals, get lunch boxes and put your stuff in lunch boxes for on the go. There's plenty of things you can do to avoid eating out.
Yeah. You just have to be willing to do it.
It's choice.
One of the things that I was just thinking about, well, two things. Limiting processed and packaged foods to save money is huge. Yeah. I always see my clients that are like, oh, but eating healthy is so expensive. And I'm like, all right, well, let's look at what your current weekly staples in your grocery. And it'd be like Doritos and mini cans of Coke and pretzels and, you know, Little Debbie snack cakes. Yeah. And it's like, oh, those are for my kids. Okay. But you also say that you eat them sometimes. Yeah. If you can reduce those things to just half, you'll save so much money. Those processed packaged foods are really expensive and they have like little to no nutritional value.
Right.
So when you are buying more whole foods, fresh, frozen, canned, lean meats, whole grains, you are going to end up saving money because you're not having tons of the packaged stuff. Yeah. And then if you are like, okay, but what about like snacks? Like you said earlier, find the ones that are on sale.
Yeah. Buy them on sale.
Work with that.
And it's super easy to make. Like, so for my meal prep, we do, like I'll make some sort of bread, like banana bread, pumpkin bread, whatever. I make that. We'll make muffins. And then I will make some sort of treat. Like I did chocolate chip cookie edible dough. Like that was their treat. Like I didn't have to buy it. It's just in the fridge. Like you can grab it. And we've really reduced any packaging because it got really expensive in the last couple of years. So, but back to what you were saying about whole foods, you will find that the more whole foods you eat, the less snacky you are anyway.
Absolutely.
So I think that, remember that, like if you're filling your diet with protein and fiber, you're not going to want all of these like snacks. You don't need these quick grabs the way that you think you do. So don't be afraid to spend more money on the proteins because they are more expensive. You aren't going to snack as much as you used to. Yeah. And watch your kids. Like I see this with my kids when we are really good at like eating protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They rarely snack. They're not walking through the house like, oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. They're like, I'm stuffed. I don't need that. Yeah. So you're not going to necessarily need to buy all these excess snacks and things because you're going to be full from your meals. And if people would get into the habit of eating actual meals each day, it's going to reduce your snacking anyway. So you're not going to need them.
Absolutely. I feel like, well, one, we know protein increases satiety. So it increases your fullness, especially when you pair that with some good complex carbs and healthy fats. You're fuller longer. You can go, without eating in between meals, no problem. And then I work with a lot of educators and individuals that have jobs where they don't get like a set sit down lunchtime. And so they're kind of having to like eat and graze as they go. And they'll complain about how they have no energy at the end of the day. And then they're like super hungry and snacky. And I'm like, well, you've got to eat more protein and higher calorie foods when you're more active and you're going through your day on your feet to give your body the energy it needs. And that will in turn reduce your cravings later on in the day, which then reduces your snacking, which will reduce your grocery budget. Right. Like it all comes full circle. Yeah. Something else too, for listeners that are like, in my situation where you don't do like the Sam's Club or the Costco membership, you can buy bulk at pretty much every grocery store. Like my husband, this is just one example that maybe might help somebody. My husband loves doing like a little Greek yogurt parfait for his breakfast. And for like the longest time, I would just buy the individual cups of yogurt. And then like, I don't know, it was probably 2 years ago, I had this like epiphany. I'm like, just happened to be comparing like the bulk size, the big like 24 ounce container of yogurt. I'm like, per ounce, it's cheaper. Yeah. So Stop spending the extra money for the individual yogurts, grab the big one, and then if you have to take it on the go, have little like Tupperware containers and throw that in there. Put your granola, worst case, in a baggie if you don't have, and you can...
But you can buy meal prep cups that have specifically for yogurt. It's like a little container and then like a little cap that goes on top of it.
Oh, for your granola or your add-ins and whatever. Okay,
like $4
there you
from
go.
like Aldi.
And that'll like you can keep using that over and over and over again.
Or you could buy a couple. So I make my husband overnight oats every week. That's what he has. So I every Sunday make 5 overnight oats. And I have these little glass containers that I just stick them in and they're stocked, ready to go.
I use my old like mason jars.
Yeah. That's
that's overnight oats. Yeah, it's the same
perfect.
thing.
You can get mason jars for
you can do that, and that's an easy thing to plan and prep for ahead of time.
Yeah.
That you've got quick, easy, nutrient dense meals that you can just grab and go if you're in a time crunch or on a budget, instead of buying the like pre-made overnight oats at the grocery store that can be $8, $9, $10 even.
Plus you don't control the ingredients.
Per serving, exactly. If you just make it on your own, you can buy oatmeal in bulk.
I buy
so much cheaper.
I buy gluten-free oats and gluten-free flour on Amazon, and then I just have it bulk sitting there, so I always have it in stock. And almond milk, I buy that in bulk on Amazon, and trying to think of, those are like our main staples of things that I buy in bulk, and then I just always have them available because you can make anything out of that those ingredients.
Where there's a will, there's a way. At the end of the day, if you want to eat healthier, you're gonna have to set the time aside to plan and prep. Just like if you want to get stronger and you want to run a 5K, you're gonna have to train. Right? If you want to grow in your muscles and maintain them, you're gonna have to strength train. Like if you want to learn a new language, you are going to have to study that language. So if you want to eat healthier, you're going to need to meal plan. You're going to need to shop for your own food. You're going to need to prepare your own meals. Now, switching gears here to kind of like wrap up this episode to touch on the picky eater conundrum, which is tough. And I do feel like we didn't we do this?
We did picky eater.
We did a picky eater.
So they can listen to that
so
too.
For our listeners, you can always go back and listen to that one. So we'll just make this really quick. Barring your child has like an actual sensory issue where they need therapeutic interventions, right? That's not our wheelhouse. You're going to have to talk to their pediatrician and other qualified healthcare professional for that. But barring any of that, get your child involved in meal planning and meal prep. I feel like I have one kid that is not a picky eater and one that is. And with both of my children, it has really helped their willingness to try new foods and to eat what I've prepared when I've said, hey, give me a meal. And you know that it has to have a protein, it has to have a fruit and a veg. And then I usually will let them throw in like a fun side. And it's just an easy way to get them involved. Then they'll end up eating what you've prepared.
And I think too, and I do this with my kids, be very honest with them about your budget. Teach them, like, this is a learning opportunity for them. Teach them about budgeting. Teach them about why you're budgeting your food. You know, like, we don't have to budget our food, but if I can, I'm going to, right? Like, it's important to me that like we're saving for other things or investing, whatever. And so I am honest with my kids of like, no, we're going to not eat out this week because we just went to Nashville, or we're not going to eat out because I like to go take trips and eat out when we're on trips. Like, why am I going to stop at Chick-fil-A and like eat something that's like mediocre I could make at home when I could save our money and go down and spend a nice weekend in Easton and like eat at good places? Like, kind of bring their awareness to it too, of like eating out is just like, you know,
pick and choose.
Yeah.
You gotta like, pick and choose.
Yeah, you can't have everything you want right now. So sometimes we have to sacrifice here to do this. And it's important that parents have those conversations, because a lot of parents don't. They kind of keep that stuff out of the topics. Your kids can understand those things, and then they'll be like, oh, you know, okay, well, let's try this, you know, like, I think that's important.
Yeah, being honest and transparent, including them in the planning, including them in the prep and the preparing of foods. I mean, studies have shown that children that are active in the kitchen are more willing to try new foods and have fewer food aversions. And so if your home life has been where you're the one that does all the meal prep and planning and they're not involved in it at all, get them involved. Whether you can start by just having that conversation, what would you like to eat? Teach them about what a balanced, healthy meal looks like. right? And then kind of go from there. Get them involved in some of the prep. If you are, say you're like, okay, well, I don't go to the grocery store, I just do pickup. Have them sit down on the computer with you and look at the items, compare the prices, like get
you
them
can even
involved.
have them going through the cupboards, looking at like, what do we have, what kind of thing. Make it fun for them. Hey, put all these ingredients into ChatGPT and get me a recipe. You know, like you can incorporate them. I think one thing we haven't talked about is what if they don't cook? And I think this is a big one that I get. Well, I have to eat out because I can't cook on my own. There are ways to do it. One, get yourself an air fryer or an Instapot. We've talked about this before. Look up a recipe. You can follow, if you're an adult, you can follow a recipe.
100%. You don't have to be a cordon bleu chef.
Literally
follow a recipe.
Yeah, I mean, I every Sunday make rice or potatoes either in the air fryer or on the stove. I cook all of my protein in the air fryer or grill, and then frozen veggies. Like you can do frozen veggies. So there are ways that you can. I mean, again, it comes down to if you want to eat healthy and you want to be on a budget, you have to learn a new skill. You have to get in the kitchen and learn and figure it out.
And you don't have to love it though. You don't have to be making these gourmet, roasting a whole chicken.
Yeah.
Like you can do simple things like pick your protein, do it in big bulk batch. You know what I mean? Like grill up 4 or 5 pounds of chicken breast. You know, do a whole pot roast in your Instant Pot.
In the crock pot.
Like there are ways. And then if you really, really are truly like, I am not going to do any of those things, you can take advantage of meal prep services like HelloFresh or some of the other meal delivery.
Chef and Factor Foods.
Exactly. Or go and
locally Clean Eats Dover.
Oh yeah, there's Clean Eats in Dover for our local friends.
Yep.
And then also go and buy like pre-made proteins at your grocery store or other restaurants, establishments where you can go and get like, you know, a couple pounds of some already cooked and prepped protein and sides. Can be easy, like a bagged salad and other canned or frozen veggies, and easy, even like, you know, microwavable brown rice with some beans.
Yeah, get those instant.
And then, you know, a rotisserie chicken and put some taco seasoning on it. Boom. There you go. A little taco bowl. Throw in some lettuce, some diced avocado. You can microwave that rice in 90 seconds. If you are truly like that, like I'm not going to cook. There are so many healthy packaged foods. I should have made the distinction earlier too when I was saying like processed packaged foods. There's a difference between like
a chomp stick and a bag of Doritos.
And brown rice in a microwavable bag and Swiss cake rolls.
Yes,
like
exactly.
And come on, if you're like, you know the difference. Yeah. Like be so for real.
Yeah.
So don't sit here and, you know, I hate that when they're like, yeah, but this already pre-cooked quinoa is in a package. And I'm like, okay, you're better off eating the quinoa than you are going over there.
Have you seen those Instagram reels that are people making fun of the people who do everything from scratch?
Like some like that are satire. Yeah. I have seen some of those.
I love them where it's like, oh, my child asked for brownies. So first I went and got the cocoa beans and then I'm like, oh my gosh,
roasted
hilarious.
Them. Yeah, that's funny.
Because people like, be real.
Yeah, exactly. Find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So, all right. Meal prep, meal plan. Buy in bulk. Buy in season. Make your own food.
Don't be afraid to contact local farmers. Look for deals, CSAs, things like that you can find.
Yep. And then look at your budget and your grocery list. Always have a plan.
Yep.
And then incorporate your family into the planning and get your kids involved to help increase the likelihood that they're going to eat what you've prepped and made. Cool.
I love it.
All right. Till next time.
Bye.
Thanks for spending your time with us. If you found this podcast helpful, we would love for you to share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast platform. If you have nutrition or fitness questions you want answered on future episodes, we would love to hear from you. You can submit these questions to our email, thenutritionrevolutionpodcast@gmail.com, and follow us on Instagram @thenutritionrevolutionpodcast.